Viewers, in this video we are going to learn about stem and its different modifications. So let's know what is stem and what are its characteristic features. Stem is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flowers and fruits. Okay, so this is the ascending part of the plant that is called stem. It bears axis bearing branches like this, axis bearing branches and leaves and flowers and fruits. And another important thing about stem is that it develops from the plumule of the embryo of a germinating seed. Here you can see the seed of the dicot and the seed of the monocot. And here you can clearly see the presence of plumule and radicle. And in case of monocot seed also we can see a plumule and radicle. So it is the plumule that develops in the stem. So this is a characteristic feature that where it develops from plumule. And another important thing about the stem is that it bears nodes and internodes. Roots don't have nodes and internodes, only stem have internodes and internodes. So the node is the region where you can see the leaves are born or branches are born. Okay, and the angle between the stem and the outgoing leaf is known as the axil, and the buds present in the axis are axial buds. Okay, so now the region where I've already discussed that the region where leaves, branches and other structures are born are node, and the region between the two nodes. Okay, so here we can see node 1 and another node is visible here. So the region between these two nodes is internode, node and internode. So this is the characteristic feature of the stem. Now stems show positive phototropism and negative geotropism. They are positively phototropic and negatively geotropic, means that they grow towards light and they do grow against the gravity. Okay, so this way they show positive phototropism and negative geotropism. The stem bears buds which may be axillary or terminal. Terminal means at the end of the branch and axillary means in the axil. Okay, so this is the axillary bud, and in this example this terminal bud has developed into a flower. Okay, so we have terminal buds at the top or at the top of the branch or at the top of the stem, and axillary bud in the axil of the leaves of branches. Now if stem bears hair, they will always be multicellular. Unlike the hair present in the root, which are unicellular in nature, the hairs borne by stems, if at all, will be multicellular in nature, means made up of more than one cell. Now, what are the functions of the stem? The main function of the stem is to be spread out branches bearing leaves, flowers and fruits. So as you saw in the figure earlier, the stem spreads out branches that bears leaf, flowers and fruits. And another function of the stem is to conduct water, minerals and photosynthesis. So the water and minerals absorbed by the root are conducted through the stem, and the photosynthetes made by leaves by photosynthesis are also conducted by the stem. So in water and mineral are conducted through xylem and photosynthetes are conducted through phloem. These are all vascular tissues. Now the next function is of the stem is to function as storage of food. We will shortly see in the video that how stems can be used by the plant for storage of food. They also act to support the plant, they protect the plant, and they also helpful in the vegetative propagation. Okay, so they can store food, they can support the plant, they can protect the plant. We will shortly see in the video that how these functions are carried out by the plants. Now another function of the green stems is that they can carry out photosynthesis. We will also take some examples of the function of photosynthesis by the stem. There are different forms of the stem. If we talk about the weakness or their aerial or underground nature, we can classify stems into strong stem and weak stem, which are aerial in nature, and underground stems. They are further they further can be categorized into different types. Like strong stems can be classified as excurrent type, deliquescent type, caudex type, and culm type. Right? We will learn them in a bit detail and with examples. And weak stems, which are not woody, we can say, and they cannot stand tall on their own. Okay, so they can be classified as into trailers, creepers, and climbers. These also have certain types which we'll learn about. And among underground stem, we have rhizomes, tuber, bulbs, and corm, about which also we will be learning in this video. Strong stems are the stems that can support themselves. They doesn't need support of any auxiliary structure, or they are woody enough to stand tall and support themselves on their own. Right? So strong, the name itself suggests that they are quite strong to stand tall on their own. So now there are types. The first type is excurrent type. You see this figure? You must have seen the Christmas tree. So whenever you hear the term excurrent, you must imagine the Christmas tree. So the main stem in the trunk uh, is the trunk like. Okay, the long trunk. It is thickest at the base and it gradually tapers towards the apex. Okay, so thick at the base and tapers towards the apex. Apex is the top. Okay, and the branches arises in the acropetal succession. Acropetal succession means the older branch will be at the base and the younger branches will be towards the top. Okay, youngest will be on the top. Okay, the tree appears cone shaped or Christmas tree like. So the examples are casuarina and eucalyptus. So this is a excurrent type of strong stem. The next type of stem is decurrent or deliquescent. These kinds of stem you must have come across in your daily life. You must have seen mango tree, neem tree, banyan tree, peepal tree, right? So in these kinds of stem, the apical bud of the main stem is weak as compared to the lateral branches. You see, here are the stronger branches, while the apical branches are not that strong. The lateral branches are prominent and heavily spreading, and the main stem grows up to a certain height, and then it gives out several branches of several orders. And these branches dominate by giving branches of several orders, right? So they branch and again keep branching. So they dominate the apex or apical branch. Okay, they assume a dome shaped structure by this kind of a growth, and examples I've already given some. The main example you can see is the banyan and peepal tree. And the third type of strong stem is caudex type. Here you must have seen the trees of palm, tree of coconut. So stem of these are of caudex type. The main stem remain unbranched. See, there is no branching in the main stem. Here also the no branching. This is the palm tree and this is the neem tree. And at the top of the stem, it bears a bunch of crown of leaves. Okay, and here itself it bears inflorescence and fruits, other things. Okay, so at the top of this kind of stem there is a crown of leaves, but the main stem remains unbranched. On the trunk of these trees or the main stem, you see scars of the leaves. As the tree grows and older leaves fall off, they leave a scar on the main trunk. The last and the fourth type of strong stem is culm type. So we see this type of solid stem, strong stem in bamboo, okay, and in strong grasses. So you know that bamboo is also a kind of grass. It's a monocot, right? So the erect stem has solid nodes and hollow internodes. As you can see in the steers, their node is very solid Okay, and in between the two nodes we have internode, which is hollow. Between the two nodes there is a hollow node, a hollow internode. Okay, between the two nodes there is a hollow internode. Okay, so we have bambusa, we have Triticum vulgare, in this examples of culm. So we have completed excurrent type, that looks like a Christmas tree, deliquescent, that looks like a dome, codex, uh, that look like a coconut tree, right? And culm, and the example you must remember, the bamboo. Now we'll move to the weak stems and their types. Types are trailer, creeper, and climbers, right? So before we go ahead, you should remember that trailers, in the trailer stem, there is no rooting at the nodes, while in creepers you will find rooting at the nodes. So trailers do not have rooting, creepers do have rooting, and climbers are altogether different. That we'll see in coming few minutes. So weak stems are the stems that cannot stand upright, and they grow either on the ground or they climb. Okay, so either they will be lying on the ground, growing on the ground, or they will climb, right? So the first type in the weak stems is creepers. These grow prostrate, means on the ground, horizontally, horizontal to the ground or in parallel to the ground. Okay, they grow prostrate and they develop adventitious roots from their nodes. This is the distinguishing features of the creepers. Okay, uh, now see, in case of, now there are different types of creepers also. So first type is runners. Okay, these kind of structure we see, these kind of weak stem we see in grasses and oxalis also. Okay, so this prostrate aerial stem have long internodes. See, between two nodes there is a long internode, and this creep, it keeps creeping horizontally, and the auxiliary buds arises from these nodes. Okay, that these auxiliary buds give rise to aerial shoots as well as roots. So these roots will be adventitious roots, because the roots that arise from the structures other than the radicle are known as adventitious roots. So these give rise to adventitious roots and aerial shoots at the nodes, right? And they, okay, now the second type of creeper is stolon. We see these kind of stems in strawberry, in peppermint, in jasmine. So you see here, what do? They initially grow upwards. Okay, they will grow upward, and like an ordinary branch they will grow upward, and then what will they will arch down into the ground to give rise to the daughter plants. You see here, it has this is the example of stolen in strawberry. It will arch a little from the ground like a normal branch, but it will again go down and will give rise to a daughter plant. Okay, so after coming in the contact with the soil, of course. Okay, so these are the strawberry, peppermint, and jasmine where we see these kind of weak stem. Third type of a creeper is offset. It is usually found in the aquatic plants. You see here, from these are the horizontal branches coming from the basal part of the plant. Okay, so these are the weak, elongated horizontal branch of having one internode that arises in the axil of a leaf. Okay, in the leaf of the plant, there is a this stem will arise and will grow horizontally, and then after growing for a short distance, it at the tip, a cluster of leaves will be born, and also a tuft of roots will grow below. Okay, then again from the axil of a leaf one offset will grow, and then will follow the suit. These offsets can break, and then these daughter plants can live individually. So it's a kind of, it is helping in vegetative propagation also. Same was the case with other creepers also. right? Like in grass or strawberry, those structures were also helping in vegetative propagation. So more examples of offsets are Iconia, that is water hyacinth, agave, and pistia. Now let us look the fourth type of creeper, that is sucker. Sucker arises from the basal underground part of the main stem. So this is the main stem that we are seeing in the chrysanthemum. It will grow under the soil and then it will grow horizontally for a distance, and then it will come again out of the soil, and it will emerge obliquely and upwards. Okay, so as we saw just opposite of the sucker in case of stolon. So the branch or stolon was the stem that grow horizontally for a while and then grow upward and then come down in the soil, right? But here it grow first in the soil and then come upwards and grow in the aerial region as a aerial shoot, right? So stolon grow and it give rise to adventitious roots. uh, okay, see, these roots are coming out of the stolon and it develops a leafy shoot. See, shoots are coming out in here also. The shoots are coming out in case of mint, or right. So what is it? What is a sucker? That the stem that grows underground for a while and then come out and bears leaves and roots below. Okay, so it may separate from the mother plant, giving rise to a new plant. So it also helps in vegetative propagation. Chrysanthemum, musa, bambusa are the main examples of the plants having these kind of weak stem. Now the second main type of weak stem is the trailers. So we have creepers, we have trailers, we have climbers, and then we have their subtypes. So the main difference in the creepers and trailers was creepers have give rise to underground roots at the nodes, while trailers do not give rise to any root uh, at internodes. So that's the main difference. There are different kinds of trailers: procumbent, decumbent, and diffuse. It will be very easy for you to remember because uh, we come across these trailers and we see them in nature on everyday basis. The procumbent, these stems, these weak stem creep on the ground totally. They do not, the plant body doesn't rises up. Okay, so they will horizontal, they will be always horizontal. They won't rise above the ground. Okay, they will just lie down on the ground. Examples are tribulus, basella, and evolvus. Okay, in contrast to procumbent, decumbent grow for certain length horizontally and then they grow vertically upwards. So first they will grow for a length horizontally and then their tip will rise above. Okay, they will grow upward also for a while at the end. Okay, the examples are portulaca, tridex. We see them on day-to-day basis around us, right? Now the third trailer is the diffuse type. These like example, Borevia diffusa. Okay, so it diffuses, profusely grows in all directions, but the branches do not grow vertically. Okay, so see, this is lying on the ground and growing profusely, right? So it diffuses all around in all the directions. So Borevia is the example of diffuse type of trailer. With this, we have completed what are the strong stems, and there are different types like excurrent, deliquescent, caudex, and culm. We have also seen two types of weak stem, that is trailers and creepers. Creepers are of four types: runner, sucker, stolon, and offset. Trailers are of three types: procumbent, decumbent, and diffuse. Now we will study what are the climbers and what are their different types. As is the clear from their name itself, climbers. They climb onto support some other object. That can be a plant, that can be a wall. So these weak stems climb up any support with the help of some clasping or clinging structure. Okay, so there must be help from some other plant part in climbing or clasping onto the support, right? So there are basic four types of these climbers. Tendril climbers is the first one. Tendril climbers climb with the help of tendrils. So tendrils are the thread-like structures that help in climbing, right? You must have seen vitis, that is grapes, and passiflora and inflorescence, or in some, and you may have seen the plant of the pea. Okay, so now these climbers, these tendrils, are formed out of modifications of the stem, leaf, or even inflorescence, right? So we see a stem modification into tendrils in case of pea, right? Sorry, the leaf modification in case of pea, or in case of passiflora, we see that stem branches gets modified into tendrils, right? And in antigonone we see that the inflorescence is getting modified into a tendril. So these structures now will help the plant to climb over the supporting wall or any other plant. Now the second type of climbers are the root climbers. So root climbers have special types of roots, adventitious roots that help them to climb onto the support. Okay, so the root arrives from the node region and that they penetrates into the object, finding some, some cracks or some support. Okay, they stick to the support and help the plant to climb over the plant or wall or any other tree, right? So with the help of these climbing roots or clinging roots, the plant climb onto the support. Like for example, you have beetle vine that have roots coming out of the internode, or you see ivy plants that have very very dense densely growing climbing roots. Okay, another example is ticoma. Third example in the climbers is scramblers or hook climbers. So they have some kinds of special structures known as hooks or prickles or hooky peduncles or spines that help them to climb onto the bushes or trees. So what happens in case of scramblers or hook climbers? These plants gradually grow over other plants, so they grow and then they keep hook onto the plant with the help of curved pickles, like in case of roses, or curved hook on the flowering peduncle. See, this is the young flower and you have a peduncle on, or a hook kind of structure on the peduncle of the plant. So this is Artabotrys. Okay, and you can find prickles on the stem of lantana. All over the lantana stem you will see small small prickles. And in case of climbing asparagus we see spines, and in case of ziziphus we see spinous stipules. So spinous structures or prickles to help them to climb in case of scramblers or hook climbers. Now the fourth climber is type is lioness. Lionesses are woody climbers. Okay, first they grow onto the support of the plant just like an ordinary twiner. So they twine around the plant, and then what happens, they become woody. Okay, so this way they keep their hold onto the support. Okay, so examples are bignonia, aristolochia. You see how woody this climber has become once it is fully grown. So we have completed strong stem and weak stems types like trailer, creepers, and climbers. Okay, now we'll go for the underground stems types: rhizome, tuber, bulb, and corm. So what function these underground stems do for the plant? They store food, they act as an organ of perennation. Perennation means the plant will survive for a long, long time, even if the conditions become unfavorable. And because they are source of vegetative propagation. So the plant will keep propagating underground and whenever the conditions are favorable, the plant or the leaves will emerge out of the stem. So this is a source of perennation. Okay, and identified these can be identified by the presence of nodes and internodes. Okay, and internal anatomy will be similar to that of the stem. So this is a distinguishing feature of the underground stem from the underground roots. Okay, examples are potato, ginger, turmeric, zamikand, and colocasia. All these are the examples of underground stem. Okay, don't get confused with the underground roots which help in food storage with the underground stem. Okay, so potato is a stem, ginger is stem, turmeric is a stem, colocasia is stem. Okay, so what are the how are they defined as underground stem? We'll shortly. So first type of underground stem that we are going to study is corn. Corn grow vertically at a particular depth of the soil. Okay, so at a particular depth they will grow. These corms store food materials and becomes tuberous. So this is a tuber-like structure, which is a stem. Okay, and they are non-green in color, and they conical or cylindrical, or they may be flattened also in shape. The comb bears scaly leaves at each node, so they you see that these nodes are very visible or distinguishable on the comb, and scaly leaves may be present in the axils. Okay, in the axil of these stems or these combs, they may bear some leaves that may become aerial after growth. Okay, the terminal bud is of this comb is very large. Okay, so these are the terminal buds, we can say, of the stem, and it grows into aerial shoot and bears leaves and flowers. uh, okay, so they do grow into aerial shoots which bear leaves and flowers. Okay, so underground, not only underground stem is there, but the out of this comb the aerial shoot will also arise that will bear the leaves and fruits. Now adventitious roots, because adventitious roots arise from other structures than the radicle, so this stem give rise to adventitious roots, and they may develop at only the base or all over the body of the comb. Okay, so with the help of contractile roots, specific type of roots are these, or also known as pull roots. This comb remain at a constant height into in the soil, or it remains at a particular depth in the soil with the help of contractile roots. Examples of the plants that have these underground combs are Amorphophallus, Colocasia, Crocus. Okay. Now the second example of the underground stem is tuber. So we know the well-known tuber potato, Solanum tuberosum. The here you see different stolons are found. So stolons that are produced near the soil surface grow into the soil. Okay, so you must remember now what are the stolons. Okay, this is a type of weak stem. So this the you know the soil the stolon that grow into the soil, their tips become the swollen. Okay, and due to the accumulation of starch and proteins, they assume a shape of a tuber. Now these underground stems have nodes as eyes. The eyes on the tuber are actually the nodes. Okay, so in the eyes there are axillary buds in the pit where stem can grow, and then adventitious root can arise from these tubers. Okay, so the stem tubers are differentiated from the tuber roots by the presence of vegetatively propagating eyes. So these eyes are nothing but the source of vegetative propagation also. So whenever you grow a potato, you just get a eye portion in a chunk of potato tuber that can grow into stem and the root. Now the third type of underground stem is rhizome. These are thickened underground and dorsiventral stems that grow horizontally at a particular depth within the soil. Before we study rhizome, we must take the examples alocasia, banana, nilambo, nucifera, that is lotus, gingiber, curcuma, that is turmeric, and saccharum have these kind of underground stems. So these are dorsiventral, horizontally growing underground stems. Okay, these rhizome. The rhizome is brown in color and shows cymose branching. Okay, so there you will see branching of the rhizome, and the terminal bud will develop into stem that will bear shoe leaves and inflorescence. So the terminal bud is no more active, it is differentiated into the shoot and that bears the inflorescence. Okay, now this rhizome can be distinguished from the modified root by the presence of nodes, internodes, right? And the terminal bud that develops into stem and which bears leaves and inflorescence, right? Then axillary buds are present, scaly leaves are present. So all these are characteristics of a stem, right? So other than this feature, adventitious roots also develop from the ventral side of the rhizome, and the rhizomes are perennial in nature again, and they are source of vegetative propagation. Just like in case of corm, they help in survival of the plant under unfavorable conditions, and whenever the conditions are favorable, these can grow into new plants. So these are source of vegetative propagation. Now the fourth type is the bulb. You must have seen onion, you must have seen garlic, you must have seen lily bulbs. So these structures look like a bulb, right? These bears roots in the lower side and a rosette of fleshy leaf bases. So these pink colors or purple colored fleshy structures are nothing but the leaf bases, and here the stem becomes highly reduced. See, this disc shape structure is nothing but the stem that is reduced to a disc. Okay, and from this disc shaped stem, the adventitious roots arise uh, below the ground, right? And in the bulb, the stem is as I told you is discoid. On the lower side are the adventitious roots, and the terminal bud grows into inflorescence. So this here at the terminus is the terminal bud that will grow into a scape or the inflorescence or aerial shoot. Okay, which will be an inflorescence. Now, and in the axil of these leaves, because these are fleshy bases of the leaves, right? So in the axil of these leaves, axillary buds may develop. Okay, that may develop into daughter bulb. Okay, so bulbs may be of two types: tunicated bulbs or scaly bulbs. When there is a tunic or a covering out around the bulb, these are known as tunicated bulb. If there is no tunic, then they will be called scaly bulbs. So the examples of the bulb kind of underground stems are Allium cepa, that is onion, lily, narcissus, tulip, and then the compound tunicated bulbs, the example is Allium sativum, that is garlic. Now you know what is a stem, what are their characteristic features, what are different types of stems: strong stem, weak stem, underground stems. Like strong stems are of excurrent, deliquescent, cortex and culm type. You know now what are the difference between the trailer and a creeper, what are the different kinds of climbers. Okay, they are root climber, tendril climber, lionesses and twiners, right? Now underground stem also you have learned about rhizome, tuber, bulb and corm, right? Still there are few types that we haven't covered. Now we will look into all those types which also need a mention. So let us have a look at certain other modification of the stems. Sometimes stems get modified into a thorn, right, or spine. So these are woody, straight and pointed structures that get modified from stem and arise in the axillary buds of the stem. So these are the axillary buds that become modified into the thorn. Now another modification is phylloclad. Phylloclads are photosynthetic stems. As I told you earlier that sometimes stems are green and they carry out photosynthesis. So this is the example where the stem is capable of carrying out photosynthesis. Phylloclad, the stem looks like a flattened structure that bears nodes, where you can see leaves and inflorescence arising out of these nodes. and sometimes thorn arise from the nodes. There can be different modifications of phylloclades like opuntia and euphoria. In opuntia, you see this leaf structure shape phylloclade, while you see cylindrical or upright, tall phylloclades, green stem that bears thorns at their nodes or leaves and inflorescence at their nodes. Okay, so this is phylloclade. Now another example we will take, that is cladoad. Now what are cladodes? This is also important from exam point of view. Cladodes are flattened photosynthetic shoots which are usually considered to be modified branches. Okay, they usually have only one internode. See, this is a cladode which is bearing a fruit. This is a cladode that is bearing a flower. Okay, this is another cladode where you see from nodes different flowers are arising. So this is the ruscus and this is the philanthus cladodes, and they are leafy, right? So they are stem modifications, and we can identify a stem always with the presence of nodes and internodes. At nodes you will find leaves, flowers, fruits, right? So if you can see a fruit or flower arising from these leafy structures, you can be sure that this is not a leaf, rather a stem. So these are modified stems, photosynthetic stems. Okay, each cladode is green, flat, or maybe cylindrical, leaf-like structure which perform photosynthesis. Other than ruscus and philanthus, we have very popular examples of asparagus. Okay, asparagus, the leaves are very reduced. You won't see leaves much on the plant, rather you will see cladodes born in the axil of the scaly leaves. Right, this is the egg. This is the leaf reduced to the scale in the asparagus plant, and the cladode arises in the axil of the scaly leaf. So these all structures you are seeing on the asparagus are nothing but the cladodes, and the leaves are reduced to the scale form. Okay, the last in the another important stem modification is the bulbil. Bulbils are modified vegetative or floral buds. Okay, what are these? Vegetative or floral buds that arise in the axis of the leaf or fluorescence. You see here the bulbil in the agave plant and the bulbil in the dentaria, bulbifera plant. These bulbils on their own can develop into a full-fledged plant. So they are considered as the vegetate means of vegetative reproduction. Okay, so with this I hope you understood the topic very well, and hope you will like my video. I thank you all for watching them. Do like, do subscribe, do share, and keep coming on this channel for more interesting videos. Thank you.